Welcome home. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We're getting the Maryland Crab Cake Tour back out on the road in early April. Already a date set for Coco's, got a date set for Costas, and something we're trying to drive home to everyone. Baseball season right around the corner. Get back down to Camden Yards. We will be at Fadley's each and every Friday, live from 2 until 5. It's all brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. I'll have these 10 times the cash tickets to give away, at least in the early going. And then, of course, Win Donation, our friends at Jiffy Lube, and our newest sponsor, Liberty Pure Solutions, bringing me fresh water. This guy brings me fresh winners each and every week, and jackpots that have swelled, and Problem Gambling Awareness Month as well. We have a lot of things going on. He is the executive director of all things Maryland Lottery and Gaming. He joins us not every week, but most weeks. He's joining us this week. What's going on, John Martin? You have told me that you have just many, many momentous things to tell our audience this week. What's
Absolutely. I'm going to talk faster than I normally do, but I got to lead with this. I'm sorry. I realize this is be more positive and all that, but
what's that?
For those folks who may have watched the NBA last night,
you have that on your desk all the time. This Cavaliers thing. You still have this? Okay.
I do. I have plenty of things at my disposal. There's a lot going on here.
Hey, I want to say this about the Cavaliers. Let's say this. They're the only ones that have ever brought Cleveland like the thing that, that matters. So the fact that they're number one in your heart and LeBron's, 1A with a bullet, I'm okay with that.
Very briefly, last night was Kelsey Brothers bobblehead night. Why that, you say? The Kelsey Brothers are from Cleveland, Ohio. They sat courtside. They had the little bobbleheads. They were wearing their Cavaliers jerseys. They brought the Kelsey Magic down 22 points. Did you hear what I just said, Nestor? Down 22 points in the fourth quarter to the Boston Celtics, who are the best team in the East.
Correct.
Spoiler alert, 105-104, Cavaliers victory. Dean Wade, not Dwayne Wade. Dean Wade scores 20 points in the fourth quarter. The Celtics team scored 17.
It's a problem with the NBA. Bam. I can't get too worked up about a regular season game, John. I can't get as enthused as you are.
This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted anyway. You ready for this one?
What is it? Oh, it's Home Run Riches. Oh, my goodness. So today's the day.
We are taking the wraps off, Nestor. We are taking the wraps off.
Asking about
Home Run Riches returns.
All I was told was remember Alan Ludden used to play Password? What's the password?
Yes.
I was told that the password was Grand Slam. That's what I was told. Is that true or not true?
For those folks who, for some reason, may have not been paying attention for the last few years, Home Run Riches is an annual rite of passage here with the baseball season starting.
Except the team's not usually this good.
Well,
really, no, when we're on sports, the team's usually not this good. They're going to hit a lot of home runs this year for you, John.
Yep. So anyone who purchases a Home Run Riches bases loaded fast play ticket can enter those tickets into our drawing. We draw winners every month, and we'll be starting at the end of March. We'll be drawing winners for each of the 162 games. A winner selected. You are the fan of the game, the contestant of the game. You win $500. Should the Orioles hit a home run, or for every home run they hit in that game, you win an additional $500. And this year, should that home run be with the bags juiced, a grand slam, you win $5,000. So ask me the logical question, Nestor, because I know you're a reporter, you're an investigator. Ask me the logical question. Go ahead.
So it's like the fifth game of the year, and I'm the contestant, and the Orioles hit 5 home runs in that game, and one of them happens to be a grand slam. You win $7,000, right? That's the way this is working this year, correct?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't know there was going to be math involved this morning.
I don't have the logical question. I'm behind you today, John.
The logical question is, how many grand slams did they hit in a year? Last year,
8.
I have it here.
Is it 8? What's the number?
Wow, that was very good. Very good. It's not right, but it's very good. 6.
Okay.
6 grand slams last year. Who was the best team in baseball last year at grand slams? Nestor, I know you love to play these little games. Go. Who was it?
The Baltimore Orioles?
No, I just said they had 6.
Oh, who had the most? I don't know.
The number was 11. The number was 11. It was West Coast. It was in the City of Angels, the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, I'm just trying to think of good teams. That's all I was thinking of.
Absolutely. So, but
God, I didn't know I was going to get quizzed on baseball. I haven't even been to spring training yet.
Somebody put regular in the decaf pot this morning. That's all I can tell you. Whew, baby.
I'm just trying to listen, man. This has been a long, long March for me, and it's already early March. And
first week of March.
John, I am just trying to get my arms around the fact that we have new ownership coming in. I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to figure out my role. I'm trying to figure out what fans want to know. And you know what they really want to know? They want to know, like, Corbin Burns is starting on opening day, and they want to know that there's going to be a parade here at some point. Like, nobody's greedy that it has to happen this year. Just has to happen soon.
Here's what lottery fans want to know. Who's going to win that $687 million Mega Millions
My
jackpot?
wife
Will
thought it
it
was
be
her
me?
when we pulled up in front of Royal Farms 3 nights ago because she knows all about your little jackpots. They're not little anymore, though. I mean,
They
this
are
is,
not. Do you
I
realize
don't.
how,
How often do you get to a half a billion on both sides? How often does that happen?
you know what? It happened once, maybe a year ago, where they both got real fat, real fast. And we may be there, knock on wood.
Right.
We may be there again. We're at 687 as we speak on the Mega, 485 on the Powerball. But little fun facts for Mega Millions. You know, March is madness anyway. But the month of March is very good to Mega Millions, and especially here in the state of Maryland.
Was this when
And you,
Lona Koning happened?
not Lona Koenig. This was the
Okay.
very first for me in my lottery career here in Maryland, a $656 million March 30th of 2012 jackpot shared Illinois, Kansas, and Maryland.
So the
And
Maryland
we
person
have
got like 200 million of that ish,
the
kind of.
Maryland team. They were the three amigos that showed up, um, educators within the state of Maryland, and they pooled their monies together and they shared. At that time, it was the world record jackpot in 2012. 656 was the world record in 2012. And today we've already crossed the $2 billion threshold, just to show you in 12 years how the migratory path of jackpots have gone here here in the United States. So
I
yeah,
hope they're
great.
happy with their retirement, right? I mean,
I would hope so.
they all got 60, 70, 80 million and then some taxes and
They
like
got
they
they
did
got a
okay.
nice.
They did
They did
okay.
okay. They done good. They done good. So that was happening, and yeah, stay tuned. Late breaking news. We'll have updates as they become available, but that's a lot of money. That's over nearly 1.2 billion dollars in jackpots
It's getting there. It's getting there
this
this
week
week. And I just hope it's
combined.
not California or Minnesota like my wife always thinks it is. John Martin is here. He's the executive director of all things Maryland Lottery. You are full of information here. So the home run riches, the contest that's going on this year, it's happening every single game. When do you start to pull for like opening days like 3 weeks from now? Like you better get after
Yeah,
this quickly, right?
the tickets are out there. People can go to mdlottery.com and get the deets, as the kids say, get the details on it. But you, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, you purchase a ticket, you enter into the pool of available players. We will select at the end of March for basically the month of April. So the
Okay.
beginning of the season in March and through April. And then every month we kind of play it forward for the next 25, 30 games at a time.
But
So
there's
we'll
no
have drawings.
tickets for life. There's no we're getting on the plane with the or none of that happens. This
No, no,
in
no.
this
It's
contest.
just cash, just good old fashioned cash money on these.
Cash is
Uh,
king. There's no question about that. Cash is
yeah,
king.
yeah. As well as playing the fun game, Home Run Riches itself. It's a progressive jackpot game, a $5 ticket. As we speak, the progressive jackpot is nearly $42,000, but that can get up there,
That's
and
a
people.
big number. Hold on. So if you
It
play,
is.
that's the progressive 42. So it'll get over 100,000 quickly if somebody doesn't hit it quick, right?
It'll take a little time, but yeah, it
Does
can.
it? Okay.
It can get
It
over.
goes
It can get
slower
over
than
100.
that. Okay.
Yep, yep. It can get over 100 grand. Yeah, it doesn't progress as fast as the Mega Millions and Powerball do. This is just local. It's just Maryland, and it's percent of every ticket goes into the progressive
You make me
jackpot.
want to
So
get more Barbara Jean from last summer back on the show, getting excited about these home because we're gonna have a lot of home runs here. Even though they moved the fence back, I keep going through that with you. Other things that are happening in springtime. I know you guys like sort of get out in the community a little bit. Like we sort of like festivals start happening and spring is sprung. My wife started showing me the trees that were budding, on the side of the road, and I'm like, all
sure.
right, so spring is getting here. So I know you guys are doing stuff. I'm doing stuff. I'm going to be out crab cake touring in April. I'm sure around the ballpark. Yeah, things happening this summer, right? Spring.
You know, spring people think about their homes and their gardens. And if you'd like, come on out and see me at the Home and Garden Show at the Timonium Fairgrounds this weekend. We'll be
Spin the
there.
wheel.
You can spin the wheel, win a prize, get a photo op with me. I just threw that in. Nobody wants a photo op with me, but sometimes.
I like
Uh,
you, but
yeah. Well, come on out and get your picture taken. So Friday the 8th, Saturday the 9th, Sunday the 10th, and I'll be out there Saturday. So
I love those
yeah,
shows. They're fun. They're good
they're
people watching,
fantastic, aren't they?
families out with that. I've signed books before on behalf of a client at the Home and Garden after I
Yeah.
wrote Purple Rain once, a little while ago. But I have a home and a garden now, so like I lived in the sky for 20 years, so I need to come join you this weekend.
You know what else I know you enjoy and you have an appetite for beer, bourbon, and barbecue, don't you?
Every day of my life. How did you know?
Yeah, yeah, because the March 22nd and 23rd will be out in the community again, and no surprise here, back at the Timonium Fairgrounds, and you can come out and visit us at the 17th annual Beer, Bourbon, and Barbecue Festival.
Now, see,
Uh,
I'm a man of Baltimore. You know this, John. I've attended this event with Greg Nivens and the folks over there.
mhm.
So they do a great, great job. So you're getting things on my radar. I'm actually in Florida that weekend, but I mean, I'm getting things on my radar. My wife's home, so she'll go over there. She likes all three of the above, too.
Yep, yep. And then again, the final tease for the month of March. The O's welcome the Los Angeles Angels on March 28th, and we will be there
Opening
at the
day.
ballpark again. Prize wheel, lots of fun. So yeah, we got lots of things going on in the
Are you
community.
going to opening day? Can I ask you that just as a human, as a Baltimorean here?
You know what? I am not probably personally going, but certainly will be there. We enjoy the promise and the thrills and the excitement of opening day, but personally, I will not be there.
I've never seen the city more excited about opening day.
Oh,
And, I'll say this because it'll lead into our March theme here with things we need to talk about, just things you want to talk about at this point. A little slower. And I saw the numbers come out in February for the month of February for of sports wagering. And this is something we weren't talking about 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. But as we get up on this, I know you want to let everyone know about the month of March, not just because of basketball, but also baseball's coming on, baseball's coming back. And baseball is something that those who have started to gamble on baseball in the last year, year and a half as it's come online, I know you want people to take this thing easy, take their roll slow, as it were, because it can be. I didn't understand gambling on baseball. Now I understand it a little bit more, and it can be fun, but just be careful with it.
like any endeavor where you're parting with your money, understand it, whether it's sports wagering, investment opportunities, um, you know, buying food, whatever it is. Make sure you're making an informed decision. You understand the game, you understand the odds. If you're not familiar with baseball, don't get in too far too deep. Observe, watch, understand, and yeah, it can be a lot of fun. And one of the things, and I'm glad you gave me a little bit of door open here. One of the things we look at here is not just the regulatory aspect after the fact. What happens when it's too late is really getting out in front of it, and whether it's education, awareness, whatever. And I'm very proud to announce that very recently, about a week or two ago, based on actions in other jurisdictions, we made a commitment in Maryland to uh, work with the NCAA, work with college athletes. And a big concern around the country in sports wagering is not only college students wagering getting in over their heads, but the burden it puts on athletes for things like prop bets. Will this player score 25 points? And at a college level, that's a lot of pressure to put on young men and women. And so we followed the lead of Ohio and some other states and basically told all of our operators, you know what, in the month of March and forever until otherwise, do not put out prop bets on individual NCAA student athletes. It's just not fair to them. It sets them up for a lot of harassment and problems, and you don't need it. Go ahead and maintain the policies and procedures for the game. It's okay to bet the Terps, but not an individual player. And I'm proud of the quick reactions we had not only here, but with our sports wagering partners. And so as of March 1st, you can no longer in the state of Maryland make any prop bets on an individual for any college athletics. And that's just being responsible. That's just being smart. That's just being fair, not only to the players themselves, but to people who want to participate in sports wagering.
John, I'm not a gambler. We talk about this all the time, right? But I would just say I see things in front of me all the time, and I'm like, how can they take a bet on that? Or like, where's the sanctioning on who becomes the first pick in this draft, or things that have a finite answer to some degree, or whether Lamar was going to stay a Raven or wind up somewhere else, where it's a decision, not a game of play or a game of chance or an officiated game or balls and strikes or whatever it would be. I don't even know parameters for any of that as to betting on who can win an Oscar, who can win a Grammy. But I mean, it's a little bit of Pandora's box. I don't even know if you know the answer, so I don't even want to put you on the spot for that. But when a casino says we're going to take numbers on the game, but not on the players, that's a big thing that happened there, because I hadn't really thought about that. But I start to think about what are the limits on what casinos could take action on in regard to what is a sporting event or what is a proposition.
Yeah, and fortunately, we've got a great relationship with all the operators, and our team here does a great job as well in having those conversations and being transparent. Um, and I think anymore, a lot of it is looking over the fence. What are the other guys doing? What's the industry doing? As I referenced in this most recent decision on student athletes, so you get a pretty good handle. And when you're working with big players, not to single them out, but the BetMGMs, the FanDuels, the DraftKings of the world, they know by now what's in and what's outside the lines, and
And they also
sometimes.
need this thing to be on the up and up.
Oh,
It's the core of their
absolutely,
business.
absolutely. Yeah, where it gets maybe a little squirrely is when you get, and again, I'm not going to mention anyone by name, but if you get somebody who's maybe out on the periphery of that, who isn't a mainstream, and clearly they're trying to get some attention or get
Oh,
some market
they're
share.
offering something that
Yeah,
nobody else
look
is
at what we
offering.
can
I
do. Yeah,
understand.
then you
Okay.
gotta say, well, you know what? That's just not going to work here. But that's what the regulator does. We have to keep things within the lines. We don't pass judgment on whether you as a player or prospective sports wagerer should do it. We just say be educated, understand, have a plan, and we'll keep it within the guidelines, the guardrails up as best we can. And if there's an issue, someone wants to challenge it, then we'll look at it and make the call.
If I get Pat Scary on, or I go over to Coppin, one of our partners, and just talk to them about these young student athletes, that you got some freshman who's 18 years old and you're putting an over under number on how many points you're going to score that night. That's just, I hadn't really thought about that until you brought it up 5 minutes ago, but I think everybody in our audience would say that's, I wouldn't want that to be my son or daughter in this case. John Martin is here, executive director of all things Maryland Lottery Gaming. We talk about Problem Gambling Awareness Month in March, and you want everybody to be in on this. Making a call on behalf of someone else, getting involved if you can with a friend, with a loved one, but also there are professionals that handle this, right? And if you're someone that thinks you have a problem, or in this last year you've sort of slow played yourself into wagering too much in certain circumstances, you make this call. What happens when you make that call, John?
Yeah, you call 1-800-GAMBLER, and that's a 24/7 hotline. Again, as we talked briefly last time, it's not operated by the lottery; it's operated independently, and it's a network. There are most states are using the same number. Some states, for whatever reasons, may have a different number, but each state has some number to call. And you get a friendly voice. You get someone there who understands what the issues are. Perhaps you even speak with someone that's called a peer-to-peer counselor who has been in a similar situation, can explain how to get a handle on it and come out the other side and hopefully be in a better position. But these people do wonderful work, and I'm sure they wish there were more of them. I'm sure that the need, the demand exceeds the resources. But sometimes it's just having somebody else to speak to that can provide resources, whether it's assistance, support, anything to get them back on track. And as I said the other day, it's not that these folks are anti-gambling. No, that's not. They're not going to,
A
when you
lot of
call
cases,
them.
these people were gamblers, right? Like that were
Absolutely,
sort of
were
reformed and can
absolutely.
help people, right?
Yeah, and again, the key is responsible play. Now, that's clearly a self-determined, right? Your responsible play may be different than mine, may be different than somebody else down the block. For some people, maybe it's $50 a week. For some people, maybe it's $5,000 a week because they've got the wherewithal and they can budget for that. Whatever the parameters are, It has to work for you. And where it clearly gets upside down is when people kind of fall off the straight and narrow, and they're betting with money they don't have, or they're shorting themselves on rent and food and medications or other things. They're hiding it from spouses or loved ones. It's affecting their work. They're chasing losses. There are things that are pretty definitive and descriptive of behavior, and it's a very different addiction than clearly an alcohol addiction or a drug addiction or something that's visible to somebody walking down the street.
But just as
down the street.
debilitating in the cases that I've seen, for sure.
Absolutely, because you're impacting sometimes families, sometimes businesses. Depending on who these people are in a business, it may have a serious impact on the health of that business financially if they're really upside down on things. And you've seen things in sports over the years. I mean, the Arch Leister thing is clearly the poster child, and that goes back
God,
a
I brought that
generation.
name up this week, John. It's crazy you'd say that. The Indianapolis Colts website hit me they're doing a 40th anniversary thing about the team going there, and his name came up the other day. So there you go. Second time for Art this week, but not in a good way. Art's a little bit, to your point, you bring Arch Leister up in this town about things, you're like, slow the roll here. We know that led to nothing good.
Yeah, absolutely, and a product of the Ohio State University. So again,
I didn't want to bring that up to you, especially after you were so excited about that Cavalier victory last night. John Martin is here. He's the executive director of all things Maryland Lottery Gaming. This month is Problem Gambling Awareness Month. Make sure just make sure you're doing the right thing and taking care of people around you that know about that. Did we get enough winners in? Do we have any new games? Home run riches. What more can I ask for this week than you did? Don that gap already.
You know what? We will close on this because again, you asked the question. If nothing else, we are fact-based here at Maryland Lottery and Gaming. You asked how many $1 million winners. How many $1 million winners do we have? You throw.
I asked that last week, so you did research. Okay,
we did research.
My wife said the other day, nobody wins the big jackpot. I said, I said, people win $1 million like almost. I don't see every week, but once or twice a month in this state. So I'm thinking, because I get James Kennedy and Seth, your incredible team there. They send me over every week a thing, and I'm trying to think.
That's their job. It's what they do.
I know that, and it's my job to know things about this.
So in fiscal 23, which went from July 1st, 22 to June 30th, 23.
How many $1 million winners?
We had
23.
33.
All right. More than I thought. Okay.
But that was across the spectrum of things. It was two people who won our Cash for Life top tier, which is $7 million prize. It's one person who won a $5 million scratch off on our $50 50 years ticket. There are 6 people who also won scratch offs, typically $30 tickets of $2 million.
You just shove that off. Like, I mean, you go to Costas right now and buy one of these $50 scratch offs. You have a better chance of winning a lot of money if you do it that way, if you're that kind of gambler, as we discussed Problem Gambling Month. But if you're that person, but you could scratch in the middle of Costas, in the middle of roast beef melt, and win $5 million. That's the way this works.
I would have gone for the crab cake myself, but the roast beef melt is a winner nonetheless. All but right. Yes, exactly. So for fiscal 24, which is the year we're in now, so from July 1st, 23 through today,
almost 6 months. Almost 6 months.
Than.
That's 5 months. Hold on. 33. Hold on. Half. 21.
I'll give it to you. 20. We've had 20.
I'm off by 1. All right.
I'll give it to you because somebody could have just walked in. I don't know.
So it's just that you're ahead of pace is what you're saying. You're saying that there were 33 last year. There could be at least 34 or more this year.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we don't control that. We've got, $1.2 billion worth of jackpots this weekend, plus a $1.5 million multi-match, all of that at mdlottery.com. And
I see you as like Willy Wonka, that you're stuffing $5 million ticket. There are $5 million. There are $1 million tickets out there. So you have a lot of the tickets out there. So you sort of know that somebody's going to hit it, and you're going to have more than 33 winners this year. I think you know that.
In the words of that legend, Sergeant Schultz, I know nothing.
All right.
Nothing.
All right. Well, I hope you're there to hand that $784 million check to that winner. And I always say Rosedale because I just like saying that. I don't know why. Why in Gardenville, we'll have a different Ville,
Rose,
Kingsville,
Rosedale
Catonsville.
is very fertile lottery land. You're not too far off. We have
All
lots of
right.
winners in
Well,
Rosedale.
I hope we have a $1 million
Yeah.
winner in Rosedale. John Martin is here just giving money away to everybody. He's the executive director of all things Maryland Lottery and Gaming. We're getting the Maryland Crab Cake Tour back out on the road. It turns out my 10 times to cash. This is so a January, February ticket for me. I now need to get on the home run. I need to get new tickets. I've got to go see Roz, but we're going to be doing Maryland Crab Cake Tour stops throughout April. Luke and I are disappearing later this month to get out of Florida to sun ourselves and investigate new ownership of the baseball team, and maybe see Corbin Burns pitch too. And I haven't been to a game in Fort Myers yet, so I'm trying to find reasons to go to Florida to meaningless spring training games. But I need to go to the Red Sox park down there to see my mother-in-law. So we're going to be gone a little bit later in the month. We will get this thing back out on the road. John, we're going to be at Faithley's on Fridays. Every Friday there's a home game. We're going to be. People call me all the time. Hey, Nasty, you ain't going live no more. You don't do live radio no more. Well, I'm going live 2 to 5. Live 2 to 5 rhymes. Fadley's Friday live 2 to 5 with Luke Jones. That's going to happen in baseball season because they're under new ownership and we're all giddy around here, almost like John is about the Cavaliers. I am Nestor. We are WNST AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Oriole baseball and the rejuvenation of the Birds in Baltimore. Baltimore positive. Stay with us.